some things of that matter. I am going to grab a stability ball real quick. Really doesn't matter what kind you have, whether it has sand in it or it's empty, anything of that matter, any of them work. Typically I put it right beside me because we're going to come out of that child pose and we're going to put our hands on top of the ball to where we're going to actively warm up our lats now. The lats are in your back, but typically I want you to teach yourself how to train the part that's located right behind your armpit. We're going to take this ball and extend it from my body a little bit, at which point I'm going to take my hips back, sticking out my bottom, right? And I'm going to roll it out, and I'm going to sit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back in. Back out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back in. Back out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back in, back out. Now, some other things, and as I'm tight, I'll kind of adjust into it, but we want to have a neutral spine. So when we get here, we're trying to get that spine nice and straight. That's why we're going to stick our hips out. And then we want to not be looking up and forward with our head, but actually be keeping it in line with our body, so I'd be staring at the ground. So 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So use the stability ball to warm up your lats. Now, I'm going to move into some other stuff that's probably going to get me sweating, just giving you an example. But I really like to teach these just so we know what's going on here. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to bring our hands out in front of us, like we're clapping right. I'm extended. And then I'm going to take them and I'm going to pinch my shoulder blades in the back. Okay? The idea is I'm pinching right in the middle here. I want to retract both of those shoulder blades. So I'm here, and then I'm going to extend back out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can see there that I'm holding my breath when I'm in. It just helps me personally to get a tighter contraction in the muscles that I'm trying to retract. And by counting, it makes sure that I'm breathing out. So really, you're going to go to about 15 of those, retracting every time. And as soon as we finish this last one, we're going to drop our hands here. Now, I'm hoping you can see this there, but I'm going to take my shoulders. I'm going to bring my hands back, and then watch my shoulder, hopefully. I'm going to roll it, pinch my shoulder blades, right? So they're pinched. I'm kind of boasting. I got my chest out, like, So I'm going to take them here. Now, this is a real small movement. You can see my thumbs kind of line up with the mid-thigh, at which point I'm going to keep those shoulder blades retracted. I'm actually even sticking out my stomach a little bit. It's okay. So really, this is the focus point at that. I'm just going to do a deltoid kickback. All that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, keeping those shoulder blades retracted, 8, 9, 10. Now standing is a kind of a modified way of doing it. Typically once you get the hang of that, and you've really learned how to retract your shoulder blades and you've got a little bit of movement here in your shoulders and hands, it's very nice for you to move to the top of a bench where you'd lay down, face down, and that way you can actually bring your hands here and learn the full range of motion. But when we're first getting started, I like to work on the contraction points and where we're actually getting that squeeze, which in this case is the lats of shoulder blades. So we're finished there, right, nice and open. Now we're going to go into a lunge with a twist. These are just stationary. We don't need to get too crazy with them. Now you don't have to step over a mat. I'm going to do this where my setup's at, and I know I'm on camera, but I'm going to step out. I'm going to get into my lunge. Coaches teach several different ways to lunge. There's ones here, they're up here, different focus and different muscle groups. But what I really like to explain and focus on is we really want to do what we call a stacking technique. So I'm going to get out, I'll be in my lunge. The stacking means that I want my knee located above my ankle, right? So relatively straight up and down. Now, in my lunges, our knee does not touch the ground because I want you activating yourself, working on the stability. So we're going to be right here, and then we're going to twist. Elbows up, in line with the shoulders, both ways, right? And then we're going to switch. Step back out, get down, and you can see, I mean, when I first lunged out, I didn't feel comfortable, so what did I do? I just brought this foot back a little bit. So I'm back in that stacking technique. Same thing. Rotate, back up, and switch. Again, going to go 10, 15 reps each one. If you're doing this correctly, repetitively, and really squeezing and activating those muscles, you're going to sweat. It's going to be a great warm-up. From the lunge with the twist, we're going to move into what we call a triangle lunge. This one may be new to several of y'all. Really good for the spine, really good for your shoulders. So, because of my knee, it's a little bit more difficult to do a forward lunge, which you can do, right? Or you can do a reverse lunge, okay? Either one really works for me. Just test yourself different ways. So I'm going to step out forward. Same hand as the side of the knee that went forward. I'm going to take it, place it on the inside heel here. At that point, I'm using this for some stability, and I'm going to rotate my shoulder up to the ceiling, staring. 1, 2, 3, down. Rotate to the other hand. 1, 2, 3, down. This hand comes to the other side, so I'm nice and square. I'm going to step back up, step back, reset. Here, again, same side hand as the knee that went forward, inside of the foot. I'm going to rotate. 1, 2, 3. This hand goes and replaces that hand. Same thing, 1, 2, 3. Now it comes to the outside. Everything's square. So when I come out of it, there's no issues with my body still being twisted up. Going to go 10 to 15 there. Let me go ahead and get rid of this mat for a minute. We're going to go through a couple squats. So, real important for us to get our legs warmed up, meaning there's several different ways we're going to do it. I'm going to kind of show you how to activate the main linear muscles and also the adductors in the hips. At which point I'll probably shut this down, let you get started from there. Let me know your questions. Hopefully with the video you can hear everything I'm saying. If I need to review it and refilm it, I'll do that as well. So please don't hesitate to let me know. Now we have several different squats. Today I'm going to cover a basic squat that I teach, which means that I want your big toes lined up on the outside of your shoulders. Okay? And people kind of vary a little bit here. Some of them like to have their feet straight. I personally do a little bit better if I just take the front of my toes out just a little bit. And we're just going to squat, right? So hands are in front, air squat, we go down. 5, back up, right? The other thing I want you to focus on is taking your tailbone and actually driving it towards the ground. So we 5, back up, okay? So we do 10 of those. Just 3, okay. So once we get through those, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into more of a sumo style. Now I like to put more of a pause at the bottom of these because it's really going to teach a balance, and we want to open up those hips like I was saying. So the sumos, we're going to go real wide, right? When they get to their competitions, they come out, they stomp. That's where that comes from. They stomp. So now we're nice and wide. I'm going to readjust my feet because that didn't work out as well, but 45 degrees. Something I like to emphasize and remind people is even though I'm out 45 degrees, my toes are here, I still want to put my weight on the back side of my heel, right? So back in there. And that's just because we want to help emphasize the glutes and the hips, and that's going to allow us the ability to do so. So I'm going to take my weight, which is now on my toes. I'm going to open up my knees, weight on the back side of my heels, and now I'm going to squat. Now, if you can get lower, mobility, again, you want to take your tailbone towards the ground, and we're going to hold 5 seconds, back up, and then back down. Right, so these are our sumo squats. We'll get more advanced with some bars and dumbbells and things of that matter later, but it's really important we learn how to activate and sit here. So once we get through those, we're going to go into a static hold. which means we're going to go down into that position. We're going to hold it for a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take my hands on the inside of my legs. I'll press down on the ground. You'll see I'm going to use my elbows to apply pressure to my inner thighs. The reason I'm doing that is you have all these adductors that basically run across the inside of your groin and the inside of your thighs and things of that matter. We want to open those up, open these hips up. They work together. Same sumo position. Now, I mix these up. Sometimes I like sumo, and sometimes I do what I call a frog stance, which is just a little bit tighter than a sumo, just depending on where I need to stretch and get that flexibility. So I'm going to go a little more frog style, just to kind of give you an example. But I'm going to go down. Once I get into this, I bring my hands back on the back side of my heels, and I'm going to press on these inner thighs, and then I'm just going to rest. So I'm going to give you a lateral perspective so that you can see what's going on. Lateral, a side view, excuse me. Again, frog stance, I'm going to go down. You can see my weight's on my toes, so I'm going to shift my knees out and go to the back side of my heels. Bring my hands here, drop my butt, get my back straight as possible, and apply pressure. Just going to sit here. I'm going to go 10 seconds. I suggest you go 30 to 60, and then back up. At that point, you should have had a great warm-up. It's time to work out. It's time to go. There's a lot more that we can add in this based on the muscles that we're working for the day. This primary focus is working on some shoulder retraction, opening up the anterior shoulder, and correcting our posture so that we are more upright, straight, and hopefully relieving some pain that many people experience through the hips, the sciatic nerve, things of that matter. In my next video for you, I'll cover some things to stretch your piriformis and some pigeon stretch and some other more advanced stretches. And we'll just add those additionally as we continue. For now, let's use this. Let me know of your questions, and then I'll come back and I will review those for you, and I'll answer any of those questions. You know my information. We can even Skype, FaceTime, or anything, and then have a live conversation if needed. In the future, we will cover the triceps and biceps. But I do appreciate your time. We're going to leave it there with you today. I'll get this sent out, and I'm looking forward to it. Just please let me know where the pain persists, what's going on. That way I can review it effectively. These are the basics for me of just kind of getting you back on your journey back to healthy and pain-free. I know that with my client in particular that I was talking about, she's got some shoulder, some back stuff going on. Last stretch. Don't know why I didn't think about this, but with what's going on, it's going to be real important. You want to help relieve some of that pain in your neck. We're going to do, you got your chin, bring it down right. What I'm going to do is actually go and look towards my armpit. I'm going to sit just like this. Now I'm going to take the opposite hand. I'm not going to pull down on my neck. I'm just going to set my hand there to add a little additional resistance. Let it hang. Now this hand, you can see as soon as I did that, it came forward because everything's tight. So I want to roll it back even, get here, and then now that it's here, I'm actually going to take it and act like I'm reaching to the ground. Get a nice stretch on the back corner of my neck. Once I do this and I go to get out of it, 60 seconds, I come back to the middle. I usually like to shake it out, kind of roll my shoulders, let everything relax, and then I'm going to reset over to the other side. See that hand come up again? I'm going to rotate it back and reach towards the ground. All right. That would be a good way leading into it. That's actually a very good stretch for you to end with as well. I would hit it morning, afternoon, and night. Several of these things would be beneficial to do statically before you go to bed. But we'll get more into that later. Again, appreciate your time. Talk to you soon. Let me know if you need anything. I do appreciate it. See ya.